Good morning and welcome to the discussion segment of Good Morning Anambra. This Thursday, which is the 6th day of June 2024. My name is Ifi Onachukwu. Well, today, the whole world is commemorating the 2024 International Day for the fight against illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. And that's why we want to take a look at food sufficiency, the impact of illegal and unregulated fishing on our economy. And, Anambra has a particular region, or should I say area, that we know they are fishermen. They are into fishing. They've trained a whole lot of great men from money, proceeds from fishing. But then, what are their experiences? What have been their experiences? Talking about some challenges they face while getting their fish as, first-hand people who bring fish to other people that buy and then sell as well, and then to consumers. What have been their challenges? What is government doing to make sure that fishing is regulated in Anambra State and in Nigeria as well? Right here in the studios, I have two great men who have great fishing experiences, based on their past activities and then present activities, of course. First, here we have the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Anambra State Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development FABDA, and we are talking about Emeka Ilugalo.
Thank you.
Wokazo no.
Nalu.
You wokazo like kwalia. On each other.
Viewers, good morning and welcome on board.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, our second guest is the DG, Director General of Umibo Empowerment Foundation. It's an organization that tries to preserve Igbo language and culture, And of course, they've had a lot of activities trying to prop up local businesses, local cultures, positive cultures. And recently they had a program with Anambra community, yes, of Umuobanam, where they helped them in propagating and publicizing their fishing activity. We're talking about Comrade Uzo. Uzo Ekemezi, Comrade, I said no.
Yeah, a very good morning, if you members of the crew, and the viewers at home or in the office, wherever you are, please join us for us to see what you can do.
Okay.
This particular trading issue.
Now, let's quickly go to Emeka. He's actually an expert because he has had a lot of, recognitions on fishing internationally, West Africa, and then Anambra now recognized him and gave him this responsibility of being the MD, CEO, and all this. So, Emeka, now we're talking about unregulated, unreported fishing, in our waters. So, when somebody talks about this, what actually does the person have in mind?
Okay, thank you very much. Just for us all to be on the same page and for perspective, unregulated and unreported fishing has to bear with fishing activities that do not respect the laws of the land or the laws of the territory. As a matter of fact, fishing in any waters, whether ocean or rivers or lakes and so on, are regulated for the places where the government is responsible and serious. And as a matter of fact, in all countries and localities, there are these regulations. The difference now becomes where people do not pay attention, or the responsible parties do not go on to properly enforce those laws. So now, the reason basically for these regulations and laws is to be sure that the ecosystem is sustained. So it relates with food security. You can say fish security, to be sure that fish is always there to be taken. And also it has to do with environmental balancing, and also the economy of the community or the locality, and even the area, the government or the nation, as the case may be. So looking at unregulated and unreported fishing, you see that for where there are regulations and they are enforced, fishing is regulated. There are seasons where there is fishing activities happen in the water bodies. For example, the communities, there are riverine or coastal communities where they do fishing festivals. When you look at it properly, you see that they do it in seasons. So even if government did not come with a big stick or policemen and all that, the community themselves regulates. It's self-regulating. They do not allow anybody to go into those waters to fish until the festival time. And invariably, what actually happens is that they may look at it as culture, but technically, the fish is allowed to grow. And after that festival and after that major fishing, nobody fishes again.
Okay, so, well, I think at the point we'll have to talk about, the reason for regulating fishing, So, but let's quickly get to our friend, Comrade Ozeke Mezie. Based on your experience, with Ndi Anam, when you had the fishing festival, were you able to gather their challenges, the challenges they have, using fishing as a source of livelihood? Because in the past we've heard about some people using some strong chemicals to fish, and then at the end of the day, everybody is put in jeopardy. So what has been their problems?
Yes, you see, one of the things that we're going to look into, that as I'm discussing today, what we're talking about is about tropical fish and not temperate fish. Some people will go to close to riverine areas and build a temperate nature of fishing, that is this pond. But coming to tropical fishing, you see, whereby you get fish as its nature. From the onset, we know the value of fish. Okay, if you do referral to biblical injunction, from that even Jesus asked the apostle to go to the river and get a fish, and after this, they're going to get the money to pay for the tax. So its spiritual implication is that fish is money-yielding venture. Okay, and that's why people now venture into it. Now, making it a means of livelihood, you see, those that are living in riverine area, or those who have even rivers, because it doesn't mean that we must live in riverine area. Like other south region of Nigeria, Ijo and Warri and other places, we have this. Some people have river, but they don't live there. Yet they can travel from their home to that river to fish. Now, there is, what do you call it, a kind of a gadget used or means to catch fish.
Okay.
You have hook.
Hook and line.
You have net.
Okay.
You have even spare. That's what I'm trying to say. These are the natural something to be used to catch fish from time immemorial. But because of people voting ambition of getting money quick, some people apply some chemicals for them to catch multitude of fish. Even if when, Peter has a encounter with Jesus, he told him it, and the Bible says, catch multitude of fish, you cannot even draw it. Okay, both small and big. Then one of my friends are saying about the sizes of net that you use, okay, so they can be able to preserve the young one to grow. I want to tell you, when you talk about the growth of fish, okay, on the product of fish, from the, the egg, okay, then you now go to fingerlings. And from there, if you are growing it, maybe in terms of temperate one, okay, these are treated with chemical, with antibiotics, so that it cannot be infected. You know what I'm trying to say? But in the riverine area, people use this chemical, and when I'm talking about this particular issue today, I'm dealing with aquatic animals. Okay, because there's other animals that are living in the sea. Talk about seafood. We have the crab, we have the shrubs, okay, we have other animals. Then the long run effect, because the intention is not even this other aquatic animal that are living. The intention is not to get fish.
Just to get the fish.
Then, when they put this chemical, okay, then they're going to kill the fish, okay, kill the other aquatic animals, you see, have long run effect to the consumers, myself and you that are doing that, you see. But when we have this fishing festival at Umuabana, okay, we met them. We know most of the challenges. Some of the challenges is that one, having the accessibility during the time of rainy season to have access to the place so that the buyers and the marketers can come in and take the fish. Now, we advise them, because what we want is that let us get this fish naturally. Okay? So we found out they are using net and hook. Okay. Which is when you catch fish, it still has some life on it. Okay? So that by the time you start to consume it, there will not be any long-run effect. So applying in that particular lake, that Umuabanam lake, okay, they have about 4 lakes. We went into what do you call it, kind of discovery, okay, exploitation, okay. That's what we went there. Okay, as we explore all those places, is in fact they have 4 major lakes, and that lake can feed West Africa entirely, okay, seasonally, continually, without any, because you see that when the river come or the sea come to overshows, then it flows, then the lake gather the fish. They do the festival between month of March down to September. That's when they have quantity of fish. Okay. So now the community, their challenges is what I have told you, the accessibility of the road, and importantly, is they are saying that most of times some other people who are their neighboring states, okay, we use chemical, okay, to catch fish, and by the time the water flow inside the lake, it reduces the quantity of the fish they are going to cut in a particular what do you call it, season. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this lake, if Anambra State, we discovered it, we explored it, and the government of Anambra State. Are
you now Mongo Park? You discovered the lake?
No, sorry. Let me just say the lake has been existing. Okay. But we explore it. Okay. And made it to come to the public domain. All right. That such a thing can give that is can feed Anambra State even to the export level. Okay. What I'm trying to say, let me just tell you one thing we did with money.
Can we talk more about this when we talk about the economic implications? Okay. How we can like when he was talking, he talked about underreported fishing, and you find out that going through the news from day one in a year to the last date, you might not even see any place where fishing activities are reported and all these. So now, what does it take to have fishing regulated, reported, and then what was the third one, and then properly getting legally done? Yes, legally done. Emeka, okay, is it possible? Do we have it in Anambra State?
For sure, yes. As a matter of fact, every country and every government has provision for regulation of fishing, and like I said earlier, it's up to the responsible parties to enforce. Now, anything you do without data, you're on your own. You are actually gambling, as a matter of fact, and that's why government have laws to control things. There is no resource that cannot finish if recklessly handled. No resource. Some species of fish.
Are you saying that some of our fish might get lost?
Many of them might get extinct. Of course, it's a fact. The records are there. So because we are so reckless, we see millions of fish. We do not know the actual number to compare it with the human beings or other animals that depend on them. We say it's so much, we can use it and feed the world, and suddenly everybody begins to go for it and it finishes suddenly. Just like petroleum, like we're saying. In the news, it's already clear. Petroleum is going to, economy boom is going to end one day. It's not indefinite. Many countries are very prosperous because of petroleum today, but it's not indefinite. If it is
just like the whales, the sharks, they are.
So now, the whales, other animals, all the big animals depend on fish. Human beings depend on fish. So there is competition for fish between human beings and other aquatic animals. Now, the essence of regulation and reporting. Reporting is about collecting data. If you do not report what you have fished, nobody can know how much of the natural resources have been depleted, have been taken away, exploited. Now, from the data gathered from reporting, it empowers and activates regulation. So you can say, oh, don't fish too much again. For example, a country like Norway, their major source of income, just like Nigeria, is fish. Seafood Council of Norway is a council that looks after all these things. Yes. They have regulations, standard regulation. They export pelagic fish, this what we call ice fish today. They export stockfish, which also comes to Nigeria and Africa, Italy, and so on. Now, the exporters have limits. They are giving licenses and giving the limit to fish. So if, for example, you are given to do 10 tons for the year, once you reach 10 tons, even if you see more fish to harvest, you don't fish again because it's been regulated. And like I said,
that's back home in Norway.
Yes, in Norway and in Iceland and all these other countries that have tightened their regulations and are in place. Nigeria also have, if you listen to the news in recent times, you will see that some Chinese were caught in Nigeria. They were doing illegal fishing. So these are regulatory things. So our people are working. They are catching people that are fishing without license. You need to have license. And the essence is about management. It's governance. So in Anambra State here, we have actually taken a further step beyond, ahead of other states in the country. It's only in this state we have the Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Agency. So when you hear business, you know it has to do with economy, obviously. And this Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Agency covers everything concerning fish, artisanal fishing, fishing in the wild, and aquaculture. Now, it will interest us, and it's important also to refresh us that aquaculture came about as a result of this challenge of natural resource of fish. So it became necessary to do aquaculture because the natural fish, in its natural way of multiplication, is not enough. The human population is increasing. Other sea animals, water animals, are also requiring fish to sustain, to be alive, and the rate at which fish is, consumed, at the rate at which it propagates, are not matching. So that's the necessity of aquaculture. So it's also part of governance and regulation. So while we are regulating the natural ones that propagate on their own, we also see how to encourage aquaculture in sustainable and environmentally right ways to be able to make, ultimately, to have fish available and have fish security, which plugs into food security.
Okay. While Emeka was talking, I got the picture. Growing up, we had a lot of fishes, different types of fishes that we knew. And we say Malela, we can continue mentioning them and all this. But recently, we just find out that we only have few types of fish. And these are imported ones. We have the mackerel, we have the, what's it called, the Titus, the horse and all these. I know that we don't get them from Nigeria, we don't get them from Anambra State. What is the implication? As when we were growing up, we no longer see them anymore. Could it be because of this unregulated, unreported, and illegal fishing? Or nyamwa as
No. When you talk about this fish regulation and control, you see, you first of all start by looking into rivers and lake. Okay? What I'm talking about, when rivers are flowing, this is cycle issue, okay? River will flow down to sea to oceans. It's not what I'm trying to say. It's just only in your sea borders, okay, or sea shores that you can control as a country, as a what do you call it, a nation or community. But unlike lake, okay, you have Lake Chad, okay? This particular lake is being controlled, it's being regulated because it is there, okay? Nothing comes in, nothing goes out, except on the terms of what? The inflow of the seas. Then it enters into the lake, and that's all. The same thing as I'm talking about this lake at Umuabana, okay, which Maibo discovered. Now, coming to regulate it, you see, in terms of fishes that we have now, in Nigeria, most of them that are trending is, catfish, tilapias, okay, all these things, what you can get. Now, all these titles and, mackerel they're bringing, these have been hybridated, okay, from the seashore. They now bring that species you see, and put it in a place, okay, whereby it can be able to do what? Be multiplying, by bringing it and selling it. It's no longer getting it from the sea naturally as it is. Okay, that's why you see these people that is in Norway, as I was saying, okay, all this mackerel, every now and then you supply it to the what do you call it, other countries, you see, in containers and shipped it down to, in terms of countries that need it, and titles which have been a canned fish. Okay, that's what the one they call what do you call it, geisha. All these things are canned fish.
Oh, wow.
So what are doing that?
So we can actually grow our economy
this place has
with
been,
fish. Of course. Through fish.
This place has been inhabited. It's not something that you get in the sea. So if Nigeria decided to make catfish or tilapia, okay, as a species, to ship it in the whole world, you bring it out, okay, put it in a semi-temperate place, grow it, okay, multiply the space, and now have it as a means of what? What do you call it? Revenue generation, generating of revenue in the either state or federal government. Now, when we go to Ayoko Lake at Omobanam, we find out that this lake has different type of fishes. From one, we have asa in Igbo, we have asa mpete, okay, but it's different from asa. Okay, you have obo, you have okbo, you have all these what do you call it? This other fish they call what do you call atu.
Okay, we have obo, ibenu,
so all these fishes are easy. So when they now catch the fish,
atuma,
they bring different kind of fish, and you select the one that you want. People like asa because it's very, very delicious. Or whatever. Assume that we are going to bring asa, okay, the egg, abrate it, okay, put it in that, create another artificial lake, that place, it will multiply, and you can see us shifting asa as a species of food to the market. What we do that time was we carry this thing, a cooling van, okay, cooling van. You see, we get all this fish, we put it in the cooling van, okay, bring it out, started to dispose it to the people in the local market as we normally carry fish in the cold room. This is what we're going to do. You see, so what I'm trying to say is that for you to regulate the fish in river will be a bit difficult because once something is being added, chemical, in that thing, it flows down to other neighboring country. Okay, as it's going down, although it has to be reducing the intensity on it, but it has to have a wrong effect. But if it is in lake, as it is, the community is there, gathered there, they will not allow you to add anything into that lake.
Okay.
They get it by.
So that's the danger. The danger of. Okay. Now, tell us more about what the government does in Anambra State to regulate fishing.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, the agency is quite young, and the catchment area is Anambra State. At the federal level, we have the Federal Department of Fisheries, and then this government has actually again created, in its being sensitive and looking at emerging situations and trends, has created the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. You see, many people are not aware. Many people are...
Ministry of Marine and Blue
Economy. Yes, there's a minister for that. The Tinubu administration brought that, into the first time in Nigeria. And as a matter of fact, the Federal Department of Fisheries that was in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has been moved to the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy.
So that means that the government is giving attention to fishery.
Exactly. And again, you see, the media people are very critical and key in this arrangement because it's emerging, it's development progress. So now government at the federal level have seen the importance and given the blue economy, the fish resources attention so that we can fully and effectively harness the huge and stupendous resources and the wealth in this sector. So in Anambra State, the Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Agency has a clear mandate.
Okay.
And the mandate is to reposition. Remember, the federal government is already repositioning by creating the ministry. Good. So Anambra State also has seen ahead. And then the mandate of this agency is to reposition the fisheries and aquaculture economy for effective and efficient governance, regulation, productivity, and growth. So you see, the mandate is very clear. The bottom line, the outcome, the expected result, end of this mandate is to have abundant fish, to have sustainable fisheries and aquaculture economy, and to have fish security within the food security objective, and to operate in the best eco-friendly arrangement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Emeka. Yes, if you have just joined us, this is ABS Television, and today we are joining the world to, commemorate unreported, illegal fishing, and then other things that make fishing not to become something that can actually feed a nation and then empower families. And so right now we want to take a break. We want to go and, several people's opinion on what we're talking about. We'll be right back.
And so if people are keeping fish or doing fishery business without it being regulated, they are prone to feeding the fish with contaminated feeds. And then once the fish is contaminated, this transcends to what we consume, because we go to market and buy and we don't trace where they are getting the fish from. So keeping unregulated fish farming can as well contribute in not being saved by what we eat, being harmed by what we eat. Because if it is well regulated, those involved in charge will make sure that the feed they are using to rear the fish is the one that is safe for the fish to consume. And then it will help them to check those who just manufacture or even use their hands to concoct whatever they like and give to fish to make it grow. Like using fertilizer, some people care only to know which one will make the fish to grow, without caring to know which one will help the fish to be healthy as well.
Illegally fishing in the environment or in our country or in our state basically is uncalled for, because when you see some places where they are fishing, where you see ponds, you see how the ponds are and how it is. You can see that in that pond, the fish that is there can die, and that fish, they can use those fish, and they can use it to go to maybe to hotels, to some places and sell. Why? Because they don't do the needful to know how the fish to grow and how to feed and how the fish be. Actually, in that fish illegally, let me use illegally way they used to. Fishing generally supposed to be used in a very good manner in a conducive place. But in these days, they manage anywhere they see space, a little space, to do their fishing or fish pond, where it is illegal occupied, where there is dirty place, they can do the fishing, the fish can die.
When it comes to unregulated chemicals, we all know that chemicals, when misused, they are harmful to the fishes, right? And also to the water bodies, right? So these products sometimes ends up damaging the water bodies, the fishes, and causing harms to the creatures, water creatures, and it is very bad. It is very, very bad. Then we should also talk about the plastic waste also having an effect on the water bodies as well. So if we can mitigate this, I think it will also protect the water bodies, we human consuming, and also taking from the water, and that's a wonderful one to save the world.
It's hazardous to the environment because there are, like you said, there are some chemicals they use which is harmful to the environment, and any chemical that is harmful to the environment can also cause cancer and other sicknesses and diseases to the human system. So the government has to look into those doing the illegal fishing, like you said, and also kind of regulate their feedings and also what they give to the fishes to enable a clean and safe environment.
Well, those were the views of people on the streets on the fight against unreported, illegal, and then what else do we have? Unregulated fishing. It's happening in our place because based on the contributions of the gentlemen in the studio, we've deduced that these things happen in our climb. So, and then they have effects. And Emeka, while the people out there were talking, I noticed that they were talking mainly about use of chemicals to fish. What can this do to the body? What can use of chemicals to, to fish? How devastating is it to the body?
Yeah, it's very bad because, as a matter of fact, apart from even the ones fishing, sometimes people doing aquaculture put down antibiotics, which is not proper. It goes into the same regulation, So your body, doctor did not recommend these things for you, and then you put it and it begins to have a problem. Now, fishermen and fisher folks sometimes use things like gamalin and so on to try to catch fish. When those things are consumed by fish and kills the fish, and when a human being takes it, the traces are inside the human being and it causes, some of these things are the things that cause cancer and different ailments. It's not good.
And for us to get these things regulated, that means we need to have a data of fishermen.
First of all,
yes,
you need to have where the water bodies are.
Listen, for us, fishing is a culture. No, how can we get our fishermen? Normally, we don't have fisherwomen, fishermen, fisher folks,
yeah,
but we don't have women being, they can sell, but we can't see them fishing, actually, but they are in the chain. Yeah. But how can you convince an Anambra man to get his data registered so that, he can be checked,
yeah,
and then his progress can be monitored as well? Do you think he will agree?
No, calm down. As a matter of fact, it's not the responsibility of the fisherman to get his data. That's why you say reporting. There are field officers.
But they will meet the man.
Yes, they'll have to meet them.
And then they will agree to give you data. Don't you think it's a very big ice to break?
Well, data it depends on how you see data. Data is what you derive. You come to where the fishing is happening, you see the amount of fish he has brought, you count it, you follow up. They stay with them, get the amount of it and record. They may not know how to record the fishermen or fisher folk. They may not have the know-how to represent the data. That's the essence of the extension agents. They know, they have been trained. They know what they're looking for. They know how to convert it to readable and usable information. So they go to these places, they stay with the fisher folk, they interact with them, they get the information that is required, bring it back to the office. Then we use that to plan and use that to regulate, use that to govern all the entire activities for the good of these people, because they come as friends. They do not come as they don't come to intimidate them or to arrest them. So they communicate properly, and these communities and fisher folk, they understand that whatever the extension agents are doing is for their own good and for the good of everybody. Okay. So they usually cooperate.
Okay, now, comrade, closing on the show, we've seen that we have issues, we have challenges, and our fishes are, at the peril of getting into extinction if care is not taken. So, what do you think will help us in fighting against illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing in Anambra State?
Well, what will help us to regulate this and get a reportive, fact about fishing is first of all, you have to carry out a sensitization program to the fishing communities, because these people are used to, they are predominantly farmers and fishery, okay? Like in Umobana, you go, river, lake. You see, when these people get this fish, they have what they call it means of catching fish. As I said earlier, they have net, okay, they have spear, and they have hook, okay. The nets are built in a size that this is a size of the fish they can able to catch in this particular lake. You see, when they catch small one, okay, they now throw it back to the lake because he who fight today and go to fight tomorrow, okay, has to leave. You see, so now if you catch all different type of fish, if you small one, okay, and still dispose it, then mind you that tomorrow you will still have lack of multiplicity, because I want to tell you that a single fish can lay about more than 1 million eggs. You see, and when this thing is being hatched, okay, let us say plus and minus, some will die or whatever, it's at least about 800,000, okay, will now feed up. You see, so these people, when they catch that small fish, they put it back. You see, when you want to talk about fish, what of Oron that produce crayfish? Crayfish is not fish. You see, but because of that place, they now say these are the particular fish we are going to now specialize on. Then other ones will be a bigger fish that are consumable. But in some communities, whether my once we get it up, this is a fish. So tomorrow, thing not dried up. So what I'm going to do is to sensitize the community, okay, about what call it the progeny of fish. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is type of fish, size of fish I'm going to catch. This is consumable. Don't catch anything that is fish in the lake or in the river, so that you can able to create multiplicity. And again, if it's somebody fishing with one, okay, something that is not naturally used, report the person, because it's not only the fish alone, it's even the consumers. So when you watch others who are using any means to catch fish, mind you that fishing is a skill. That's why Mike was going there to train the young youth, okay, to do this particular skill, because it was known to us in olden days that we Igbos are known by fishing. You see, unlike those who use it as the fastest means of getting money, they pour this chemical gamalin and other insecticides to kill.
And
so
decide to destroy our aquatic life.
A sanitization and also help them, okay, to
empower
have
them.
What we call a very, very successful means of getting this fish for them to supply it to the market.
Okay.
And its subsistence, you know.
Create a value chain. Thank you very much. Okay. Finally, Emeka, can you share a bit of the success stories you've had in fishery in Anambra State? Just a minute.
Okay, so thank you very much. In Anambra State, as we are today, there is clear structure for fisheries and aquaculture economy, and the actors in the fisheries and aquaculture value chain are very conscious that we have an institution, that there is a government is aware, and it's like an umbrella and a guide, you know, like compass to what they need to do. Then in the riverine areas, the activities there also, even though the Ministry of Agriculture, the extension agents have been going there, you know, there was no dedicated agency for that, so they just carry it as one of the things they do together with other agricultural commodities. But now we have more focus, and then there's more consciousness. There are places like the Osumanu fish resort.
Did we get this fish, this particular fish on the screen? Did we get it in Anambra?
Yes, it's in Anambra, Baru, or Somala, you know.
Can we have the pictures?
We have, yes, of course, you can. You have 22 species in this location. It's at Osomala, and these are, most of them are commercially viable, you know. And what I mean by commercially viable is that we can reproduce them in the same natural.
Let's have more of the fish.
Yeah. We can reproduce them in the same natural environment, with not with synthetic. There is organic fish production. There is organic aquaculture, by the way. So you leave them in large earthen ponds. They live in the ecosystem, but you control them in terms of data. You know the quantity you are growing, and at the end of the day, you also harvest it in that order. So we have several creative ways, and it's in place.
What did you call this one? Okay, we have a sampet and then
this
We have no operation name.
the other one, yes.
Have Asa and have Mpete.
After
so what's this one?
Gymnacus and Niloticus.
This is just
Because
It's Opo.
This one is Opo. I heard it's not delicious. Is it true?
not delicious. Opo is not delicious.
Every fish is good.
Every fish. Look at him. Look at our fisherman.
If you leave it, this thing, it will start to rotting very, very fast.
Yeah, this Opo.
Yeah, by storm.
Okay.
So you need to dry it immediately or cook it immediately, because I have this contained at the Ayoko River, sorry, lake at Umobana.
Okay.
That's majority of this idea.
All right. So Emeka,
And several species in Anambra State, so we're working very hard to harness them and then so that they don't go extinct and then also serve our purpose for fish consumption
so you know,
and economic
looking at
activities.
you know, your success story within the next, let me just say about 5 years. Where do you think we can be?
Well, I'll take it this way because we don't have time. We have a vision and mission in Anambra State, right, for fisheries and aquaculture. Our vision is to be the largest fish producing state in West Africa. Now, we want to be the largest in 3 key areas: fingerlings production, which is seed fish. We want to be largest in fish feed production, and then we want to be largest in processed fish products. So fish coming from the wild, fish coming from aquaculture, we process them, we want to be able to be exporting them. So in that line, we've put a strategic structure and put a target for what we call table fish production. So that table fish production has a immediate term, mid-term, and long-term. So immediate is that we want to be self-sufficient in table fish production in the state. With this, once we achieve this, we've gone far in that, and then after that, we will now go into producing for industries and export, because there are industries that use fish, and these processed fish are done by industries and all that. So, and there are 2 key areas: economic development and human capital development. So we need human beings to drive this. We also need to have SMEs, small, medium enterprises.
All right.
To get
Thank you
done.
very much. Well, they're just giving us this one is horse, really? Is it not horse?
It's pelagic fish.
Pelagic.
This one is something like
It's one of those
Mackerel.
promotion.
Okay. All right. We want to thank you immensely for joining us on the show. I just pray that Anambra will have a beautiful future in fisheries within the next few. Already we have.
Yeah,
so
we're on course. We're on course.
Like what Mike was trying to do, okay, is to start to produce these titles, okay, that we have been imported, okay, from Anambra State.
Is it possible?
Yes, you have all this kind of fish in that lake at Umuabana.
Are you serious?
Okay? What you need to mechanize it, okay, get machines
Groom it.
to do this and then produce this fish and put, it's that Igbo made titles.
Well, that's a good one.
Okay. Some of these species have freshwater equivalents, you know, so like the crayfish. So, you know, there is the marine and
okay, thank you very much. Emeka Ilu, who is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Anambra State Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Factor. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I hope we'll have more fish.
Yes, there will always be fish. Well, of course, and by God's grace, we will continue to get better.
Okay, and the DG, Director General of Umibo,
Country Director
of Umibo Empowerment Foundation, Uze Kemize, thanks for joining us on the program.
It's a pleasure having me.
Azubunri. Wow, that's a good one. Emeka, just the same thing. It's the same mission you shared with us.
Yes,
thanks a lot. My name is Sifi Nachuku. Thanking all the crew members who helped in this production. We'll see you again tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Bye.